Brasserie Dubuisson Bush Caractère.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Fucking hell, what a mouthful that was. Oh, fuck me. Hang on. There must be something about beer that's got French in the in the title of it. But it's not French. It's from it is from Belgium. And it's from the Walloon part of, or Wallonia as it's known, Wallonia part of Belgium. That is the French speaking part. Why they want to speak French, I don't know, but there you go. Now usually alarm bells ring with a beer that's got French words on it, but if it's from Belgium, it's potentially excellent. Now I've actually heard of this beer before, and the reason I heard of it is quite an interesting story. Well, it's not if you weren't there, but there's a fella who knocks about with us, and he's part of our. It's not a bike club, but there's about 12 or 13 of us, and we all knock about together, and we do like tours of Europe and stuff like that. And we did a tour of Spain, France, and Belgium one year, and we stayed in this hostel in Bruges of all places, and they were selling this stuff, which is unusual because there's so many good beers that come from Bruges and the West Flanders region that I was surprised to see this in here, but they had this on sale, and this is 12% and it's pretty strong. And there's a fella that knocks about of us, and his nickname is Bush. I don't know why, he just got the nickname of Bush, probably because he fell in it one drunken episode, but he was drinking this, and he was so proud that according to him, they'd named a beer after him. But yeah, that's how I've heard of this lot before, and I saw it on, what was it? Was it KG's off-licence site? Have checked them out. They're from Oxford. Not bad. Do some quite good beers. But they had this on there, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give this lot a go. And yeah, I didn't taste it, but he was drinking it and said it was lovely. But I don't know whether he was just drinking it because it had his name on it. But there you go. Now, this brewery are quite interesting. They're the oldest family-run independent brewery in the Walloon region. Now, the Walloon region is, as I say, the French-speaking part of Belgium. And they come from a part of Belgium called Pipay, which is in the Hainaut region, which is near the French border, hence the reason they speak French. I'm not going to go into the history of Belgium, but just a real quick potted history. Belgium is made up of two regions. It's quite a young country. It was made up of two different language speaking regions, and of course, you know, that creates the usual tensions, as you can imagine. You only have to look at England and Scotland, and they've just got a different accent. How bad that is. But that's what Belgium is like. It's divided in two. You've got the Flemish speaking part and you've got the French speaking part. This is obviously the French. This has come from the French speaking part, as I say, from a place called Pipay. But the brewery are quite, you know, steeped in tradition. They're quite old. They go back to 1769, and they have been brewing ever since. They've had to stop for the Napoleonic Wars. Originally, they brewed in a castle, and I think it was the Holy Roman Empress, Maria Theresa. She imposed a tax on people who brewed beers in castles. So they decided to move to a site across the way. So that goes even further back than 1769, but that's what they've put down there. But they've had to stop for the Napoleonic Wars. They've had to stop for the First World War. They had to stop for the Second World War. Both times in the First and Second World War, they was occupied. The brewery was requisitioned by the Germans. I'm sure they must have taken all the, the copper that was situated in the brewery and in the big kettles and stuff. They would have requisitioned that, and anything else they could have got their hands on. They were quite ruthless when they did that. And if you read the history of a lot of Belgian breweries, you will see that the Germans really did sort of cannibalise all the parts from breweries for their own uses, and basically all the breweries had to start again. I can imagine it must have finished off a lot of breweries, but some of them have ridden that storm and come through, and they're still brewing to this day, which I think is excellent. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail on this brewery because it really has got a long history and an interesting history as well, but I just want to make some things clear for you. They pride themselves on using only 100% natural ingredients in their beers. They also grow their own hops, and they grow two different fucking look at that. They grow two different styles of hops. One of them is Styrian Goldings, and the other is East Kent Goldings, which I think is brilliant. They're growing a Kent or a British style hop over in Belgium. But that is not, in the words of Tom Jones, too unusual, because a lot of Belgian brewers use Kent hops in their quads and in their doubles as well, because, Kent hops, I know I keep going on about them, but they are really good for dark coloured beer, and they give a lot of flavour off, and they give that bitter, earthy type, herbal type flavour to a beer, which is good for any sort of dark beer. It will just enhance the flavour of them rich malts, hence the reason why they're brewing them, which I think is excellent. And of course, I don't know whether I mentioned it, but they are the oldest family-run independent brewery in Wallonia, not in Belgium, but in Wallonia, which again, you have to take your hat off to that. There is a big tradition now. So let's see how that tradition translates into this beer. Right, this is I think it's a 330ml bottle. Yeah, 330ml bottle, 12%. Fuck me, I've got to take it easy with this stuff. They've called it a amber beer. Now, I think with that sort of ABV, you should be really calling it a quadruple. But you only tend to find that quadruples are brewed in the sort of Flanders region or the Flemish speaking part. But I could be wrong. This could be just an amber beer that they've put massive amounts of alcohol, well not massive, but relatively massive amounts of alcohol in it. So it is quite intriguing. I'll just quickly show you the label. There it is, Bush Caractère. Is that autofocus playing ball? There you go. And there's the back. Now, you might all think I'm Mr. Magoo, but...
do you ever run those cartoons about that ridiculous little nearsighted old man?
I'm fucked if I'm going to try and read all that lot. There you go. Right, let's get it out of the bowl and see what it tastes like. Now this is slightly chilled, so is this going to fucking... No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. That's going to be alright. Quickly, there is the cap, brass cap with DF. I don't know what that means. DF? No idea. I should have known that. I should have looked that up. Anyway, fuck it. Too late now. Let's get this into a glass. Now, I'm drinking this out of a Rastal glass. If you look on the Bush website or the Brasserie Dubuisson,
Hey, fuck off!
the beer is being drunk in a glass like this, so that's why I am drinking it out of a glass like this. The carbonation is just insane, isn't it? But they add sugar to their beer. God, I can smell that from here. Very sweet. Carbonation is fucking insane on this. Now, it doesn't make a point of saying that it's bottle conditioned, but oh yeah, it is. I've just seen some floaters. Well, what look like floaters anyway. It's floating in there. There it is in the glass. Bit of a murk to it, but look at that carbonation. That is just insane. But that is in keeping with what the Belgian brewers like to do with their beer, i.e. a secondary fermentation with sugar, which gives it even more carbonation. What are we getting on the nose? Quite sweet. Caramel malt. And not a great deal else, to be honest. It's just caramel malt. Oh, there's a little, it's like bubble gum, but it's not bubble gum that I know. When I say bubble gum, I'm sort of thinking of the Weiss beer type bubble gum. You know, the juicy fruit. This is weird. This has got like a fruity type ester to it. Interesting. Anyway, let's get this down the hatch. How do they say cheers in French? Is it's santé or something like that? I'm not fucking speaking French.
You must go and get your hands on girl's knocker.
But so, bottoms up. God. Jesus. The fucking ethanol on this is just insane. God. And you can feel that warming going down. Now, if you're not a fan of spirit alcohol, give this a wide berth, because that is really not going to do your palate any favours whatsoever. It's weird, I wasn't getting any, you know, spirit alcohol notes at all from that. But oh, I'm getting some banana from the aroma now. Definitely getting that. But the spirit alcohol on this is massive, and at 12%, you know, you wouldn't expect anything less from that. God, big sweetness on that. Big sugar sweetness. And as I say, when combined with that caramel malt that's in there, it gives what I perceive as a molasses, dark brown sugar type flavour to it, which I absolutely love. Now, I said that this sounded like a quad, but I may have to reevaluate that. It does come across. I don't think it's quite got the body of a quad. I drank the La Trappe quad last night, and I probably shouldn't have done. I'd had quite a few. If you watch the review, I was a bit oiled as I was starting that review, and by the end of it, fucking hell, I was proper mangled. But this hasn't quite got the body of the La Trappe stuff, but it's really nice. There's a fair bit of fruit on this. I'm getting like a banana type flavour, lots of that candy sugar sweetness, and there's a little bit of, I don't know, it's either strawberry or something like that. Very subtle, but I can pick that up. But of course, all the way through, you have just got a massive backbone of ethanol, or spirit alcohol, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. Ethanol is actually what it is, but I call it spirit alcohol because people are going to understand what that means. When I say spirit alcohol, I mean what you would get from it if you were drinking a spirit, and of course that is ethanol. So when I say spirit alcohol, I mean a spirit type flavour alcohol, which is, of course, as I say, it's the ethanol. Right, this is super sweet. Now that is definitely an acquired taste. I'm not sure your average drinker would like that. They would just take a mouthful of that and say it's way too sweet. I like it. The breweries say that this is the perfect aperitif or the perfect digestive. Now, I'm not sure about that. Alcohol is a digestive in its own right, but there's certain other herbs that you need to have in there. Like if you look at Jägermeister, believe it or not, that wasn't brewed to be mixed with Red Bull and fucking necked and to start a fight in a fucking Wetherspoons pub. Or neither was it designed to be fucking necked as a shot to try and get you mullered. I've done both, so I'm guilty. But it was actually distilled or brewed, whatever you want to call it, to be a digestive. And if ever you're full up, or you've eaten a big meal and you think, fucking hell, I can't move, if you sip a Jägermeister, or if you can get it, Ferner Branca is another digestive, quite a good one. Or you got the Angostura bitters, which you get in like Cinzano and stuff like that. That's a very good digestive as well. It basically relieves that full feeling you get after a big meal. In the UK, people tend to drink port or maybe even a cognac or something like that. If you're really posh and you go to these posh dinners, they'll give you some cognac as a digestive and all that. Fuck that shit. I don't drink that. I want a beer. Now they've classed this, well they haven't classed it, but they've said it makes a really good digestive. I can't see that, to be honest, with all that sugar in there. And they say it makes an aperitif. Now for fuck's sake, an aperitif for me, and I'm fucking well posh, I am, so you've got to remember this, an aperitif for me is about 8 or 9 pints, and then I'll have my kebab. So I don't know where they're getting this aperitif bollocks. Aperitif. You can tell I can't speak fucking French, can't you? I managed to avoid it. Do you know what? I used to do French at school, and we had a teacher. He looked like, it was the fella Bergerac. He looked like him, believe it or not. What's his name? Mr. Jacob. And French, I just, fuck off. I just didn't want to know. And it got so bad that he promoted me to the role of doorstop. I had to stand on a chair in front of the door, just holding the door open. He said that was all I was useful for in a French lesson. And you know what? I'm quite proud of that. I didn't leave school with any real qualification. Well, I left school with nothing. I got fucking booted out. But I'm quite proud of that. If I go for a job and people say, what qualification? I say, I was a doorstop in French. That always impresses them. Anyway, enough about my fucking school days. Jesus Christ. That's going back a bit. It's an acquired taste. You're gonna love it. You're gonna hate it. I love it. If you like your Belgian quads, or if you like your really, really strong doubles, you're gonna like this. If you're not a fan of that sweet, sugary molasses, some people call it treacle-y. I prefer to call it like a molasses type flavour. If you don't like that, you're not gonna like this. I like it. It's really strong. The spirit alcohol on this is pretty hefty. So if you're not a fan of that, as I say, the molasses or treacle style, syrupy style alcohol, then you're not going to like this, because it's got that in abundance. There's some quite sweet fruit notes on there as well, like you've got a sweet banana, and as I say, there's a raspberry or strawberry. I can't work out which one, but I am getting that in there as well. But all the way through, it's just dominated by spirit alcohol. I quite like it. Will I buy it again? There's better quadruples out there, and I'm going to class this as a quadruple because at 12%, what else are you going to call it? They've called it an amber beer, but it's a fucking quad in my eyes. There's better ones out there, so I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. I'll recommend it if you really like your strong alcohol, bordering on like a spirit. And as I say, that's why I call it spirit alcohol. You're going to like that. Me personally, I like that, but 1 is enough for me. That's probably going to do me for the day now. I'm not going to have much more after this. I think that's going to just slightly just close the fucking lid and say, nope, no more beer. But not bad altogether. 7.5 out of 10. Recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.